Hey everybody, and it's finesse fishing time. So, have you ever been to a body of water and you know the fish are there, but it seems like it's ghost town and you just can't seem to get a bite, or it's post-frontal condition, sun's really high, bluebird skies, no wind? Well, I'm gonna teach you a couple methods here in finesse fishing that are just about foolproof for those situations. The very first one I'm gonna show you is what I like to call crack. Okay, and it's amazing. Like the bass have to have it. Okay, and crack is simply a particular bait wacky rigged with a weight inside of it. So I take a normal Zoom swamp crawler, and you notice that there's an egg sac right here. Okay, so what I do with that egg sac is I actually cut the worm down to make it shorter and smaller. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a regular #1 Gamakatsu hook. I am going to wacky rig the bait like this, and this on its own works, but what happens is it sinks very, very slowly. So what I do, okay, is I will take a pin weight, which are lead little sticks of weight, and I'm going to stick this in the head of the bait. Now, the problem with this is there's probably people watching this video, okay, that don't want me to share this secret with people. And I debated on it, to tell you the truth, because it's been such a productive bait for me no matter where I go. So now what I've got is I've got this weight in the head, and instead of a wacky worm falling like this, now it's going to do a spinning action as it goes to the bottom. Okay, I can fish it faster than a traditional wacky rig. But most importantly, it absolutely kills fish. So 8 to 10, really 12-pound test is as heavy as you want to go with it, okay? Largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, doesn't matter. They all eat it, and it's just a really productive bait for me. So the next one that I want to go into, okay, is a rig that locally it actually has my last name after it. So it's called the Riley rig. And the reason for it is it was a secret that I kept for a very, very long time that absolutely just, it works in tidal water, it works in lakes, it works a lot of different situations. So in essence, all it is a very small Carolina rig. So I take a tungsten sinker, typically 1/8 or 1/4 ounce, and I'll tie just a regular barrel swivel onto the bait, okay? And let me just tie this on here 1 sec for demonstration purposes. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. I am using 10-pound test copolymer line, okay, to tie on the sinker, okay? Now, when I look at putting my bait on the back of the rig, I use fluorocarbon, okay? I use fluorocarbon because it is tougher and it is more resistant against the teeth of the fish. So all I do is tie a short length, okay, about 12 to 18 inches at the very maximum, okay, onto the back of this Carolina rig, or Riley rig, if you will. Cut the tag end off. Now, on this rig, I will use a 2 or 3/0 Gamakatsu extra wide gap EWG hook. I take this wide gap hook, and now what I'm going to show you is once I tie it onto here, my eyes can get it right. So we tie the bait on. Now, there are a lot of different baits that you can use on the back of this, you know, brush hog, lizard, anything like that. But I'm going to show you the #1 bait, and you can see we've got a sinker, swivel, fluorocarbon line, 12-pound test to a 2/0 or 3/0 EWG wide gap Gamakatsu hook. Now, here comes the secret, guys. The Zoom Fish Doctor. Believe it or not, it was one of the first 5 baits, Zoom baits, ever produced, okay? Their first 5 molds, one of them was the Fish Doctor. Now I think they have 100 and some variations of baits, but this bait was one of the originals made back in the late 70s, and guess what? It still catches fish, guys. So I simply Texas rig this lure. I keep the flat side. If you notice, there's a flat side of this bait. So I keep that down. I run my hook down. Slide the bait back up into the actual, to Texas rig it. And all I'm doing is Texas rigging this, guys. That's it. Putting the hook back into the bait. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got a very finesse rig. And what I'm doing with this rig, guys, is the most important parts of it are when I cast it out. And the fish 99% of the time are gonna hit it when it's stopped. Okay, so basically this bait goes out, it falls to the bottom, boom, the sinker hits, and then the bait slowly falls to the bottom. Okay, and there's something about that action that just drives fish absolutely crazy. So when I begin my cast, I simply drag it along the bottom. So now this is just coming along the bottom and this is following it, okay? There's really no jerking. It's more of a drag and stop, drag and stop, drag and stop. But it's a downsized finesse version of what you would call a Carolina rig. Sometimes I'll even lighten this up even more and I won't even tie a weight to it and I'll just put a little split shot on here where that's really productive. So imagine if you've got a lake that has a bunch of vegetation and grass in it, right? And any bait that you throw in that has a bunch of weight to it, it's gonna sink down into the grass and it's just gonna bog up. So what that does is a split shot rig is it's light enough that this just lays on top of the grass and you can drag it on top of the grass. Extremely productive, guys. I can't tell you how many hundreds, even thousands of fish I've caught in local tournaments I've won off this particular rig. The last rig that I think is worth a very good mention here is the drop shot. So really became popular on the West Coast. And to rig a drop shot is fairly simple if you understand the principles of it. So you can take a lot of different styles of hooks. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show on a number 1 Gamakatsu hook. So what you want to do is take a polymer knot. Okay, so basically you're doubling your line and you're going through the hook point. You tie your overhand knot like this. You are feeding that back over top of the hook, moistening it down. But we're not done. So we've got 2 ends here, right? So you may ask yourself, well, how am I going to get the hook point to stick up? So I take this tag end of the line and I run that back down through the eye of the hook. So now what happens is our hook point always sticks up, okay? And then we just take a bait. Now, the clearer the water, longer the leader. The dirtier the water, the shorter the leader, okay? So we've got our tag line and I tie a simple overhand knot on the end of the tag line, okay, like this. Now, this is a drop shot weight. Now, this is a cylindrical drop shot weight, and you notice that it has this, at the end of it, it has a little keeper on it. So what you do is you take this and you rig your line through it, past that knot that you just tied, and then you simply pull, and it cinches the knot onto there. So now we've got this rig, okay, that you can fish one of the ways that I fish it a lot of times is with a wacky rig. So I'll take my wacky rig and drop shot wacky. So effective, guys, because now I can fish deeper, I can fish faster. Smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, doesn't matter. Casting, vertical, all of these techniques, the real key to finesse fishing is slow down your presentation. Let the fish find you instead of you finding the fish. Pick out a target and fish the target very, very thorough and slow. So imagine that you're flipping boat docks, okay? You can fish around the boat dock fast, but your casts, you're fishing very small percentage areas, right? You're fishing very slow in a smaller area, which you're targeting just where the fish you think they're at. So instead of searching, we're targeting. And then we're really letting the bait stay there. And that's one of the keys to finesse fishing is basically getting them to bite. So I hope these methods have been, helpful for you. They certainly help me catch more fish. And I know they will help you catch fish as well. So we'll see you in the next video.